Hello and welcome to Board Games, Bricks, and Hobbies. This video is going to address two items, the first of which is my Metroid Dread review, and the second is my thoughts on the Metroid Prime 4 trailer. So what happened in the Metroid Dread review? Well, it's no secret that I prefer the first-person adventure perspective of the Prime trilogy of games. The 2D games are good. I enjoy Fusion, I enjoy Zero Mission, and I honestly just thought Dread was average. I gave it a 6 out of 10, and a part of that is that the controls were infuriating and the game is far too difficult. Now, this is where their responses came in. Even though I told people not to say this, they still said it. They said that I just need to get good. And I'm not going to address those comments directly because they could be trolls and I don't want to feed them, and it's not really worth my time. But I do want to address the topic of get good and how really ableist that is in the gaming community, because difficulty options are there as an accessibility feature. And the fact that you are basically telling someone that they can't enjoy this game, I haven't beat Dread, I made that clear in my review. And so saying that I just need to get better is basically telling me that I can't enjoy this game to its completion because I'm not good enough. And plenty of games have difficulty options. In fact, Metroid Dread actually had to patch in a lower option after the game released because the one option that the game launched with was too difficult for some people. And that's should be an option for games. There are even some games that give you a story option where you can just play through the game essentially with very little chance of dying for those who want that. I personally would not choose that option, but if it's there as an option, that's great for people. Now, to get to my point that I made in that video is that I'm not getting any younger, and I wasn't that good at video games when I was quicker. But the fact remains is that even if I know the strategies, even I can read up on all of the boss fights, I can read up on strategies, I can watch video tutorials, it doesn't matter. The fact remains that my hand-eye coordination is not that fast. So the time that it takes for me to see something and react to it, I physically cannot react that fast. You might be able to. That's great. I just can't. So it is a physical limitation of my body. I just can't move that fast. It's why I never played any baseball, football, games where you have to throw balls at things. It's why I never did any of those in high school, because I have terrible hand-eye coordination. And so I did cross country because that doesn't require hardly any coordination. You just run, right? So the fact is, saying get good to someone is basically telling them they shouldn't be able to enjoy something that they like. And that's really ableist and wrong. So next time you think about someone addressing the difficulty in a game, and just recognize that, like, you might be able to react that fast, but not everyone's reaction time is that good. And there are some things that you can train and practice, and that isn't really one of them. It is a physical limitation for some people. Not to mention the controls are garbage and require you to have claw hands, and it just wasn't good and didn't make for a good gaming experience. So, that out of the way, let's talk about something more positive. Metroid Prime 4. Woo! It's been a long time coming. Now, I'll be honest, this trailer has me hesitant. The first part was basically just a generic shooter. If I didn't know it had the Prime name attached to it, I would have just thought it was like Nova or some generic sci-fi thing, right? And I get that they might have gone with that angle to appeal to a broader audience. Metroid Dread is the best-selling Prime Metroid game. But that's doesn't necessarily mean it's the best one. That's just because the Switch sold a bajillion units, so of course it's going to be the best-selling game. Like, that's just how numbers work. But anyway, I really liked the part at the end where it showed the valley and the shriek bats or whatever the flying creatures were. I wanted more of that, right? More of the adventure part. Less focus on the combat. Yeah, they showed the scan visor, but that's really it. So honestly, I was underwhelmed. If I were to have done the trailer, I would have opened with the valley and just some exploration, maybe a couple cool enemies that weren't just the space pirates, because the space pirates are fun, right? But they also are the most generic looking of the enemies. They're humanoid, right? I want to see some bugs. I want to see some beetles. That's what I would have wanted to see, right? Or some floaty thingies or the grapple hook, right? And I'm sure we'll get that as the game comes closer to launch. But overall, just really kind of underwhelmed. But if I would have done it, I would have done more variety in the creatures, more environments, and probably ended with a kind of start of a boss fight after the title sequence. So those are my thoughts on Metroid Dread and also Metroid Prime 4. Let me know yours in the comments, and I hope to see you again in another video. Take care. Bye.